On the morning of September 11, 2001, 19 hijackers carried out the deadliest terrorist attack in American history. 2,977 people died. In the immediate aftermath, the public, the media, and the government asked the same question. How did a multi-billion-dollar intelligence apparatus fail to prevent an attack of this scale? The 9/11 Commission found that the intelligence community didn't lack warning. The indicators had been in the system for years. In 1998, a CIA analyst named Cindy Storr authored a classified report. Using early pattern recognition, she predicted that Osama bin Laden was planning a spectacular, symbolically devastating attack on American soil. Storr's report reached the highest levels of the CIA. It was read. It was then filed away with no material change to the agency's priorities. This highlights a recurring organizational flaw. The knowledge of a threat is entirely distinct from the institutional capacity to act on it. In 1998, the American intelligence community operated as a constellation of separate agencies, the CIA, FBI, and NSA, each with its own culture and reporting chain. The CIA monitored foreign threats, the FBI investigated domestic crimes, and the NSA intercepted global signals. This 1970s legal firewall protected citizens but blocked domestic cross-referencing. Consequently, Storr's warning remained trapped inside the CIA, unable to reach agencies monitoring operatives inside the United States. The intelligence system did not break down. It operated exactly as it was designed, which is precisely why it structurally paralyzed the flow of warnings. Storr's warning also faced the barrier of prioritization. Bin Laden was competing for attention against dozens of other threats, and without a specific date or location, the report lacked operational urgency. Then there was bureaucratic inertia. Reallocating massive resources for a threat that remained speculative in 1998 was a difficult sell to leadership. Finally, the system suffered from a failure of imagination. Counterterrorism models at the time simply did not account for commercial aircraft being used as missiles. The physical evidence continued to mount. In 2000, the bombing of the USS Cole demonstrated that al-Qaeda could execute sophisticated attacks on American targets. By the summer of 2001, the volume of intelligence indicators reached a breaking point. Analysts described the entire system as blinking red. On August 6, 2001, the presidential daily brief was titled, "Bin Laden Determined to Strike in U.S." It explicitly noted that the group was interested in hijacking aircraft. The executive branch was warned. No major defensive mobilization followed, and 36 days later, the attacks occurred. Evidence is meaningless if institutional friction prevents decision-makers from reallocating the resources required to defend against it. In their final report, the 9/11 Commission noted that the analytical challenge was not a lack of data, but the difficulty of identifying which specific data points were significant among millions of irrelevant entries. In 1998, this required manual pattern recognition, a process limited by the number of indicators a human analyst can hold in their mind simultaneously. Modern intelligence now relies on algorithmic analysis to perform the work Cindy Storr did by hand, but at machine scale. These tools process millions of daily intelligence entries, bridging databases to flag anomalies and identify patterns that would be invisible to human cognition. Technology can remove the analytical bottleneck of human capacity, but it cannot fix the underlying organizational behavior. Machine learning can solve the data problem, but it is powerless to solve the gap between knowing a fact and acting on it. This gap appears in corporate fraud cases, where warnings existed for years before discovery, and in public health crises, where monitoring data fails to trigger an official response. It is a recurring failure mode of large institutions dealing with complex threats. Deliberately, Cindy Storr was absolutely right back in 1998, but her report proves that possessing the truth is useless if an institution lacks the imagination and the agility to act upon it.